chapter 18 in our textbook, The West, industrialism. Now, in a way, this unit explores the revolution that's probably more important on our daily lives today than any of the other revolutions that we've seen so far, or the evolutions we've seen so far. Starting, remember, with the Renaissance, the humanistic awakening, the Reformation, the religious awakening, the scientific revolution, the scientific awakening, and then the Enlightenment, and now the Industrial Revolution, which, building on the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment, created a whole new economic superstructure for the world. Among the points I think we've made earlier in the class are that the world has changed more in the past 250 years as far as human activity, and human history has changed more in the past 250 years than the previous 250,000. And primarily it's industrialization and the rise of industrial capitalism that is responsible for this. Every single object that we encounter, almost every day, is a factory-produced, mass-manufactured item. Now, not everything, but most things. The exceptions are very rare. Oftentimes jewelry, maybe a treasured piece of clothing, a memento of some type that has personal significance. But other than that, we live in a manufactured world. Now, there's 7 billion people on Earth, remember. One study has recently concluded that, in fact, there are about 10 billion different manufactured items being produced right now. That, in fact, there are more things being manufactured than there are people on Earth, different types of things being manufactured. So, and this is largely because of the explosion of the Industrial Revolution, and also it was the Industrial Revolution in a way that deals with that question we covered in one of the first units at the very start of class, which is the rise of the West and how the West got wealthy. Now, the explanations for why we'll see in this unit aren't necessarily clear, because we really don't know exactly. There really is no specific answer to it. Let me put it this way, there's great arguments about why the West shot ahead. And remember the video that we saw in one of the earlier units, Hans Rosling, the man who said the world in the last 200 years had gone from sick and poor to rich and healthy. We should probably take a look at that video again in this unit. Also in this unit, we're going to see a brief episode from a video on YouTube called Crash Course in Industrialization, which is about a 10 or 11 minute summary of industrialization, which I think does sort of a good job and raises some fundamental questions about it. When you just think about this, the power that's at our fingertips is so enormous compared to humans who lived in the agricultural age or the pre-agricultural age, more than 10,000 years ago. It's just, we in fact are like superheroes in some comic book. The powers, in fact, that we have, including lights, vehicles, communication devices, health, our clothing, manufacturing, you name it. We could be we should have our own comic books, maybe all of it. And I note on the overview for this lesson, just as an example of how powerful industrialization became, it was said that traditional hand spinning, it would take 10 years to produce 100 pounds of cotton. 10 years. By the 1790s, British machinery could produce that quantity in 300 hours. So, now that may not sound like a lot to you until you start thinking about it. The fantastic increase in speed. Now, what's interesting about this is that the Industrial Revolution is part of the systemization, regularization, and organization of modern life, because the world that we live in now is orderly, and if there was a machine that would be emblematic of the Industrial Revolution, it would be the wristwatch. Now I would show you my wristwatch right here, because I lost it. So hold on, let me see if I can find my iPhone. Oh, here, maybe I can borrow. Dallas, can I borrow your watch? Okay. Well, this is a nice lady's watch, but anyway, this is the symbol of the Industrial Revolution, the watch, because it's the timing, the essentially putting human beings on an external schedule by a machine. And so you think about it in some ways, when we wear watches like this, this is the machine sort of dictating what we're supposed to do and when we're supposed to do it. Well, a key to the Industrial Revolution certainly is that. It's the systemization, it's the organization of our entire existence, which in a way never existed before the Industrial Revolution. But what this did, this systemization and this essentially making the world run on time, meant a vast increase in riches and productivity and material wealth, one that we, in fact, are the beneficiaries of. And in fact, we live surrounded by it. So much, so many riches in material terms, we're not even aware of it. Because the fact is, like as I said, not only we live like superheroes, we live, even many of the poorest people on earth today, or some of the poorest people on earth today, live like veritable kings and queens compared to our ancestors of hundreds or thousands of years ago. Okay, well, good luck with the unit this week, and make sure you do the reading. Thank you.